Shalom, shalom. Want to give honor and glory to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. Going back into the lesson, going back to the laws, okay? More laws, okay? Leviticus 25 chapter, okay? All right, this is the milk. The milk is the law, right? How to deal with real estate, land, mortgage, taxes in this chapter, okay? The debt and redemptions, all right? That's what we're going into, the Leviticus 25th chapter, right? All right, let's don't waste no time. Let's get into it, okay? It's Leviticus 25:1. And the Lord spake unto Moses in Mount Sinai, saying, verse 2, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye come into the land which I give you, then shall the land keep a Sabbath unto the Lord. Meaning we have a Sabbath, and the land has a Sabbath every 7 years. For 1 year, and you can't break the ground, shovel the ground, or tilt the land. And also the Gadites kept that law back then and planted crops in a new land for 6 years and let it rest on the seventh, and went plant their crops on a new land, while the other land replenish it's like it back to its natural state. Right, let's go to Exodus 23:10. All right, Exodus 23:10. In 6 years thou shalt sow thy land, and shall gather in the fruits thereof. Exodus 23:11. But the 7th year thou shalt let it rest and lie still. And lie still, that the poor of thy people may eat, and what they leave the beasts of the field shall eat. In like manner thou shalt deal with thy vineyard, and with thy and with thy olive yard. Meaning fallow year is what farmers will have taken the year off from farming and tilting the ground and allowing the land to rest, and the land has to rest for it can bring forth new nutrients on the 7th year. And and if you don't let the land rest in that 7th year, and it will bring forth rodents, pestilent, and can wear out the roots if you keep planting the crops every year without letting it rest on the 7th year. And it brings order with the land as well. And if you were not doing the land Sabbath in the ancient world, and it was called a crop rotation, and if you were planted corn for the 6th year, and you would have to change it to sweet potatoes for the soil and the nutrients to rest, and that other nutrients help bring forth the sweet potatoes and will allow that land to be replenished. So you either had a crop rotation or a fallow year, and it's a law to let the land rest on the 7th year for 1 year, and Esau don't keep these laws, and that is why the land are bad in certain areas, and they have defiled the earth. Right, they have defiled the earth. So let's go to precept on that. That's Isaiah 24:5, right? Isaiah 24:5. The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. Meaning Esau changed the laws, and they don't keep a land Sabbath, and that is why the earth is defiled, and the water defiled as well, because Esau can throw anything in the water or waste trash in the water. Didn't look like that 2,000 years ago, and now the water is brown looking, and back in the ancient time the water was clear, and that is why Esau has to get put out of this earth. Right, let's go to Psalms 82:5. All right, Psalms 82:5. They know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are out of course. Meaning sometimes you can see the sun and the moon at the same time, and the earth is out of course, and sometimes it feels like summertime, and it is wintertime, and the earth is out of course, and wild beasts in the city, and it's all kinds of confusion on the earth, and Esau breeding a tiger with a lion, all kind of confusion, and we are being slaves, and all kinds of confusion on the earth. Right. Let's go back to Leviticus 25:3. All right, Leviticus 25:3. 6 years thou shalt sow thy field, and 6 years thou shalt prune thy vineyard, and gather in the fruit thereof. Verse 4. But in the 7th year shall be a Sabbath of rest unto the land, a Sabbath for the Lord. Thou shalt neither sow thy field nor prune thy vineyard. Verse 5. That which groweth of it on accord of thy harvest, thou shalt not reap, neither gather the grapes of thy vine undressed it, for it is a year of rest unto the land. Meaning, so we have to give the land a rest on the 7th year, because it is a Sabbath for 1 year. Right, verse 7. And for thy cattle, and for the beasts that are in thy land, shall all the increase thereof be meat. Meaning, the poor and animals can eat of this 1 year land Sabbath, and the Lord has so many laws to benefit the poor and our brethren that dwell in the land. Right, verse 8. And thou shalt number 7 Sabbaths of years unto thee, 7 times 7 years, and the space of the 7 Sabbaths of years shall be unto thee 49 years. Right, meaning Pentecost is a high holy day, meaning 50, and you have to have 7 exclusive weeks, and plus another day, and that where you get 49 days from, and you add another day, and that is 50 days, and you also have 7 exclusive years for the land Sabbath. 7 exclusive years, 7 times 7 is 49 years, and you have to count that 7 year until you get 49 years every 7 years. Right. Leviticus, let's go Leviticus 23:15. Okay, Leviticus 23:15. Leviticus 23:15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. Meaning 7 Sabbaths is 49, because the Sabbath comes in every 7 days, and if you have 7 Sabbaths, and 7 times 7 is 49, so this going to be 49 weeks. So from dealing with the feast of unleavened bread, and 1 more day will be the Pentecost, and we actually have to count them days. Right, verse 16. Even unto the morrow after the 7th Sabbath, ye shall ye number 50 days, and ye shall offer a new meat offering unto the Lord. Meaning, and that is where you get the concept of the Pentecost from, or the Feast of Fruit. Pentecost of 50 days, and you had 7 Sabbaths and 1 extra day, and it was 50 days, and you kept that high holy day, Pentecost, and it is a commandment to keep it. Right. All right, let's go to Acts 2:1. All right, talk about the Pentecost. Acts 2:1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, they were all with one accord in one place. Meaning the apostle kept the Pentecost, and we have to keep it as well. Right. So let's go back to Leviticus 25:9. Leviticus 25:9. Okay, Leviticus 25:9. Then shall thou cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month, in the day of atonement. It's like in the day of atonement shall ye make the trumpet sound throughout all your land. Meaning now on the 50th year after the 49 years, you blow the trumpet of the day of atonement, and you had the men of the priest that taken the shofar and blew the trumpet, and the Lord shall thou cause the trumpet of the Jubilee to sound on the 10th day of the 7th month. And this was happening of the day of atonement. Right, verse 10. And ye shall hallow the 50th year, and proclaim liberty throughout all the land unto all the inhabitants thereof. It shall be a jubilee unto you, and you shall return every man unto his possession, and ye shall return every man unto his family. Right, jubilee means trumpet sound. So every 50 years liberty was proclaimed in Israel, meaning if I worked it for my brethren and I was in debt, or if I had to sell my land or ox or cattle or daughter or whatever the case may be, in the 50th year all debt would be canceled. And another example, if a brother owed me 50 shekels, and on the 50th year that is done away with, and all debts are liberated on the 50th year of the nation of Israel. And that's a perfect law. And after every 50 year, your debt would be canceled in the nation of Israel. And also Jubilee means a trumpet sound and someone celebrating the 50th year anniversary. And also if I sell my land to my brother and couldn't pay him back, and after 50 years he have to give my land back, and everything start back fresh after 50 years of Jubilee. And it doesn't matter if you sold the land, cattle, or ox, and whatever it might be in the first year or the 47th year, and all their inheritance go back to their original owner in the 50th year of Jubilee. And also when Yahushua come back, he is going to come back with the great sound of the trumpet, and we are going to be liberated from Babylon the Great, from the debt we have of slavery. So we have a physical jubilee and a spiritual jubilee that is coming. Right, let's go to 1 Corinthians 15 and 51. All right, let's talk about this trumpet. Okay, all right, 1 Corinthians 15 and 51. Behold, I shew you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. At 52. In a moment, in the twinkle of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. Meaning that trumpet sounds. It's like that trumpet shall sound like the day of Jubilee. The dead shall be raised, meaning resurrected, and incorruptible, meaning everlasting. Right, verse 53. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must be put on immortality. I mean, that is a spiritual jubilee that is coming, and we are going to be liberated from the debt and slavery from Babylon the Great, and it is done on a physical level. But when Yahushua return, it's going to be on a spiritual level, and from that great sound of a trumpet, and we don't have to worry about any taxes, work, rent, slavery, affliction, etc., because he is coming back to destroy this place, and the spirit and the spiritual body that we will have when we get beamed up in the chariots. Right, let's go to Isaiah 27 and 12. Okay, Isaiah 27 and 12. Isaiah 27:12. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall beat off from the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, and ye shall be gathered in one by one, O ye children of Israel. Meaning in that day, meaning when Yahweh shall return, and the channel of the river unto the stream of Egypt, meaning he's going to destroy Babylon the Great. And also when you hear Egypt, that don't mean necessarily the actual place Egypt in the land of Ham. And Babylon the Great that we live in is a spiritual bondage and a spiritual Egypt, right? Verse 13, or verse 13. And it shall come to pass in that day that the great trumpet shall be blown, and they shall come which were ready to perish in the land of Assyria, and the outcasts in the land of Egypt, and shall worship the land in the holy mount at Jerusalem. Right? Meaning the trumpet blow like the Jubilee, and our people are ready to perish, and they can make it in her. And getting murdered, shot, killed, and raped, beaten, and it's like in these days no man will survive, and it's a lot of Israelites will be persecuted in the last days. And the point is that Leviticus 25th chapter, the great sound of the trumpet, the Jubilee, the liberty will be proclaimed in the entire nation, right? Let's go to Revelation 4:1, okay? Let's go to Revelation 4:1. Revelation 4:1. After this I looked it, and behold, a door was opened in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will shew thee things which must be hereafter. Meaning in heaven, and the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet, meaning it's like it was Yahushua, the sound of many waters. So Yahushua's voice is known as the trumpet, and Yahushua told our people that he came to preach our people liberty to the captives, and that is in the gospel. And this was even done on a spiritual level 2,000 years ago. Right, let's go to Luke 4:17. All right, let's talk about that. All right, Luke 4:17. And there was delivered it unto him the book of the prophet Isaiah. It's like Isaiah mean Isaiah, right? And when he had opened the book, like he found the place where it was written, Isaiah, which is Isaiah, right? Verse 18, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, meaning the set at liberty like the Jubilee that are bruised it, right? Verse 19, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. Verse 20, and he closed the book, and he gave it again to the minister, and sat down, and the eyes of all them that were in the synagogue were fastened on him. Verse 21, and he began to say unto them, this day is this scripture fulfilled it in your ears. Meaning Yahushua was preaching the liberty to the captives, and that is not talking about physical captives, and he was talking spiritual liberation, and they had to be liberated from bondage, lies, subjected to sin, subjected to the flesh body, and that is the prison that you are in, right? Let's go to 1 Peter 3:19. 1 Peter 3:19. By which also he went and preached it unto the spirit in prison. Verse 20. Which sometimes were disobedient, when once the long suffering of God waited in the days of Noah while the ark was a preparing, wherein few, it's lucky, that is, 8 souls were saved by water. Meaning Yahushua went and preached it unto the spirit in prison, and this is not talking physically. It means subjected to sin, subjected to the flesh, and that is the prison that we are in, the fleshy body. It's like, let's go to Jude 1 and 5. Let's go to Jude 1 and 5. Okay, Jude 1 and 5. Jude 1 and 5. All right. I will therefore put you in remembrance, though ye once knew this, how that the Lord, having saved the people out of the land of Egypt, afterwards destroyed them that believed it not. Verse 6, and the angels which kept not their first estate, but left their own habitation, he had reserved it in everlasting change under darkness unto the judgment of the great day. Meaning, so the Lord called our body the everlasting change under darkness, and we have it bad in Babylon that we live in his prison. And when you are at your job, you are in prison, and you also have Jake in actual prison and all over in the penitentiary and a prison to sin and to these bodies. Right. Let's go to Isaiah 42:7. Isaiah 42:7. Okay. To open the blind eyes, but to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. Meaning, and that is what the Lord is doing, and he is opening up the eyes of the blind. And Jake's with their 20/20 vision is still spiritually blind because they don't know where they are going, and he is stumbling and running into obstacles, meaning being in different religion and philosophies. Right. Let's go to Baruch 3 and 7. All right. Baruch 3 and 7. Baruch 3 and 7. And for this cause thou hast put thy fear in our hearts, to the intent that we should call upon thy name and praise thee in our captivity. For we have called it to mind all the iniquity of our forefathers that sinned before thee. Verse 8, behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our God. Meaning, and the Lord said, on this day we are in our captivity, and these Jakes and Eves think we are free, and we are still in slavery and have to pay taxes, and we have a birth certificate and have a social security card and a passport to leave the country, etc., and we are still in bondage. And also Yahushua was in captivity up under the Roman Empire. Right. Let's go to that. Let's talk about Yahushua was in the Roman captivity. Okay, this is Matthew 17 and 24. All right, on down. All right, it's Matthew 17 and 24. And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received the tribute money came to Peter and said, do not your master pay tributes? Meaning, and if you can't tribute, that is taxes, that is slavery. And in the ancient world, when nations conquered nations, and either you can put them in hard course physical slavery and make them follow your ways, or allow them to practice their own custom and put them in tributes, and meaning they have to pay taxes to you or pay you a certain quarter each year. And King Moab paid to King Solomon 10,000 sheep and oxen every year because they were in captivity. And anytime you have to pay tributes to your enemy, that means you are in captivity. And we pay tributes in Babylon to the Edomites as well, because we are in captivity. And look at our paycheck stubs, or when they tax us when we buy something, etc., etc. And they ask about Yahushua to see if he paid taxes to get him jammed it up about asking Peter to see if he was going to say no, and they were trying to put him between a rock and a hard place, and they want to see if he paid taxes and be a coon, or is he against the Roman Empire and commit treason, right? Let's go to verse 25. Okay, verse 25. He said yes, and when he was come into the house, Yahushua prevented him, saying, What thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom or tributes? Of their own children or of strangers? Meaning, when Peter was about to walk in the house, and Yahushua stopped him and asked Peter, who the Romans tax? The strangers? Verse 26. Peter said unto him, of strangers. Yahushua said unto him, then are the children free? Meaning, and Peter said, the Roman only taxed the ones that are slaves, and the Roman children were free, but the Israelite children wasn't free because they had to pay taxes, a tribute. So if you were not a citizen of Rome and you were considered a slave, a tributary, so it is telling you straight up that Yahushua was in slavery. So Yahushua was like us today, working and paying taxes to the Edomites. And Peter and John James were slaves as well upon the Roman Empire. Right, verse 27. Notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go thou to the sea and cast an hook and take up the fish that first cometh up, and when thou hast opened it his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money that take and give unto them for me and thee. Meaning, so Yahushua said, I'm going to pay these taxes, for I don't have to offend them. And that is why Yahushua said in Luke 20 and 25 chapter, and he said unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which be Caesar's, and unto Yahweh the things which be Yahweh. And we have to have the same mindset and pay our taxes to the Edomites and serve the Most High. Right. Let's go to Romans 13 and 1. Romans 13 and 1. Let every soul be subjected unto the higher power, for there is no power but of Yahweh, the power that be are ordained of Yahweh. Meaning, let your soul be subjected unto the higher power, and Esau is the higher power in this world. Meaning, we have to stop at a stop sign and put your seatbelt on and obey his rules and be subjected to the higher power. Right. Verse 2. Whosoever therefore resists the power resisted the ordinance of Yahweh, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Meaning, and that is why Jake be getting put to death, and the first thing Jake do is set up his camera, and then and they learn all the laws from the G Library of Congress and say this when they get pulled over. According to the law, you can't pull me over. I am a free citizen, and they be quoting all of this stuff and be getting jammed up instead of getting out of that situation and keeping your life. Right. Verse 3. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Will thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. Meaning, and you don't have to worry and fear when the devils are cracking down on you if you are keeping the commandments. And that is what it is saying. And a lot of Jakes get jammed up by Esau because Jake are off selling drugs and being wicked, etc., etc. And if you are keeping the commandments and not out there being a whore or doing all kinds of folly in the streets, and you don't have to worry about any evil thing if you are keeping his law, statutes, commandments. Right. Let's go to Psalms 125 and 3. Psalms 125 and 3. Psalms 125 and 3, right? For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. It's like, meaning the rod is for discipline and punishment and judgment. And who are the rod of the wicked? The judges, polices. And the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquity. Other words, if we are sinning and breaking Yahweh law, statute, commandments, and the rod of the wicked shall come on us, and Esau will have us jammed it up. Let's go to Sirach 9 and 13. Let's go to Sirach 9 and 13. Okay. Sirach 9 and 13. Keep thee far from the man that, Slucky, read that again. Keep thee far from the man that had power to kill, so shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. And if thou come unto him, make no fault, lest he take lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares, and that thou walkest upon the battlements of the city. Meaning, if you come near Esau, make no fault and don't get out of the car and walk upon Esau when you get pulled over, unless he take away your life presently. And we are snares and traps in Babylon, and this place is against the Israelites because we have to stay away from the power to kill. Right. Let's go to Isaiah 10 and 1. Isaiah 10 and 1, okay? Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decree, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed it. Meaning, woe to them that make unrighteous laws and unrighteous commandments and prescribe, write the law for one people, and they condemn laws for other people, and death to destruction that validate the wickedness and condemn the righteous. And that is what the Lord is saying. Right, let's go to Psalm 94 and 20. Okay, let's go to Psalm 94 and 20. Psalms 94 and 20. Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which have framed it a mischief by a law? Meaning, and these laws are backed and rooted up by mystery. And if you eat the fruit of it, and you know where it came from. All right, let's go back to Leviticus 25 and 11. Okay, let's go back to Leviticus 25 and 11. Leviticus 25 and 11. A jubilee shall that 50 year, Slunky. Read that again. A jubilee shall that 50th year be unto you. Ye shall not sow, neither reap that which groweth it of itself in it, nor gather the grapes in it of thy vine, undressed. Meaning, and you can gather the increase in the jubilee, and just like the 7th year, and just like every 7th year, you can gather the increase of the field. Verse 12. For it is the jubilee; it shall be holy unto you. Unto you ye shall eat of the increase thereof out of the field. Verse 13. In the year of this jubilee, ye shall return every man unto his possession. Verse 14. And if thou sell aught unto thy neighbor, or buyest aught of thy neighbor's hand, ye shall not oppress one another. Meaning, so if I sell my land to my brother, and he can hold on it after the year of jubilee, and if he don't keep the commandments and won't sell the land back, then he will be oppressing you, and that is press debt. If he don't sell you back the land, for you can redeem and buy it back, then that is oppression, right? That's oppression. Brother don't sell you back his land, you know what I mean? Because he's supposed to know the law, statute, commandment. All right, he should know in that year. Gotta get that land back, okay? Right, verse 15. According to the number of years after the Jubilee, thou shalt buy of thy neighbor, and according unto the number of years of the fruit of Slacky. Read that again. All right. This is verse 15. According to the number of years after the Jubilee, thou shalt buy of thy neighbor, and according unto the number of years of the fruits, he shall sell unto thee. Meaning, if I sell my land to my brother 5 years before the Jubilee, and when the Jubilee come up, I still have the opportunity to buy my land back. But if I want to buy my land back 5 years before the Jubilee, and I can buy it back, but I have to pay him what that land man produced it to the 5 years leading up to the Jubilee. Verse 16, according to the multitude of years, thou shalt increase the price thereof, and according to the fewness of years, thou shalt diminish the price of it, for according to the number of the years of the fruits, do it he sell it unto thee. Verse 17, ye shall not therefore oppress one another, but thou shalt fear thy God, for I am the Lord your Yahweh. Meaning, and sometimes you have a Jake at your job that will oppress you and be a coon for the Edomites, and he is writing you up and checking you out every day. And we all have experienced that one Jake at the job that is treating his brother wrong and oppressing him and going to tell Esau everything. Right, let's go to Proverbs 14 and 31. Proverbs 14 and 31, all right? Proverbs 14:31. He that oppressed the poor approached his maker, but he that honored him had mercy on the poor. Meaning, so if you oppress the poor and you approach the maker, so reproach means you dislike them, you hate them, you are against them. So that is telling you that Esau hate the Most High because he oppressed the poor, and we are the poor, and it does not matter if you make 6 figures or not, and the Most High classify you as the poor. Right, let's go James 2 and 5. Go James 2 and 5. All right, James 2 and 5. Hearken, my beloved brethren, have not Yahweh chosen the poor of this world rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom which he had promised it to them that love him? Slacky. Meaning Yahweh chosen the poor of this world rich in faith. Right. Let's go back to Leviticus 25 and 18. Okay, Leviticus 25 and 18. Wherefore ye shall do my statutes and keep my judgments and do them, and ye shall dwell in the land in safety. Verse 19, and the land shall yield her fruit, and ye shall eat your field, and dwell therein in safety. Verse 20, and if ye shall say, what shall we eat the 7 year? Behold, we shall not sow nor gather in our increase. Meaning, and Jacob might get a simple and say, we can plant in the 7 year, and we can gather in our increase. And they will say, what can we eat? Because we can plant, sow, and work, and tilt the ground on the 7 year, and gather the grapes of the fruit. And how are we going to survive? And the Lord will tell you in the next verse, right? Verse 21. Then I will command my blessing upon you in the 6th year, and it shall bring forth fruit for 3 years. Meaning, and Jacob's word about the 7th year, when the Lord said in the 6th year, when you can gather on the 7th year, and the Lord give us fruit for 3 years. So when that 7th year comes, you will have food for 2 years. And when that 8th year comes in, and you still have food for a year of increase. So the Lord looked it out for us, so we don't have to worry about food for that 7 year, and we will have plenty of food for 3 years of increase. Right. All right, Leviticus 25 and 22, right? Okay. Leviticus 25 and 22. And ye shall sow the 8th year, and eat yet of old fruit until the 9th year, until her fruit come in. Ye shall eat of the old store. Meaning when that 7th year comes, and remember you have 2 years left with a lot of food for the next 2 years, and we really don't have to gather in for that year because we still have food for the next 2 years for what the Lord has given us from the previous year. Right. Verse 23. The land shall not be sold forever, for the land is mine, for ye are strangers and sojourners with me. Meaning, so you can't sell your land forever. And just like today, don't sell your land to the Edomites and keep that land in your family. And don't sell your land for paper money and keep it. And that is like in that land is worth whatever you want it to be worth. And it is really the most high land. Right. Let's go to 1 Kings 21 and 1. Let's go to 1 Kings 21 and 1. Okay. And it came to pass. Read again. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth, the Jezreelite, had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. Verse 2. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house, and I will give thee for it a better vineyard than it. Or if it seems good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. Meaning this king said unto this man, I want your vineyard. It is next to my palace, and I want your land, or I will trade you for a better field, or buy it from you. Verse 3. And Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid it me, that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. Meaning, and we supposed to do the same thing as our fathers, and don't give our inheritance to anyone. Meaning, don't sell our land. And Naboth knew the longevity of having that land, and he give it to his sons, and pass it down through all their generation. And you can't sell your land forever. And if I fail on hard times and need some money, and I sell my land to one of my brethren, and I have to get redeemed, and I have to have an opportunity or my near of kin to purchase that land back and bring back to my inheritance. Right. Let's go back to Leviticus 25 and 24. Right. 25 and 24. And in all the land of your possession ye shall grant a redemption for the land. Meaning, so it should always be an opportunity for a man to redeem back his land. Verse 25. If thy brother be waxen, poor, and has sold away some of his possession, and if any of his kin come to redeem it, then shall he redeem that which is that which his brother sold. Meaning, so if I sold my land to my brethren and I can't afford to buy it back, and if my kin people know that I can't afford to buy it back, and my near kinsmen want to go buy it back, and the brethren can't say no and not sell it back to me and say you're not the one that owe me the money. Your cousin sold me this land, but the brethren has to sell the land back to the family, to his inheritance. Right. Let's go to Ruth 4:1. Let's talk about that, okay? Right. Let's talk about Boaz. All right. Ruth 4:1. Then went Boaz up to the gate and set him down there, and behold, the kinsman of whom Boaz spake came by, unto whom he said, Ho, such a one, turn aside, sit down here. And he turned aside and sat down. Verse 2. And he took 10 men of the elders of the city and said, sit ye down here. And they sat down. Meaning Boaz is getting witness about what is going to go down in the next verse. Verse 3. And he said unto the kinsman Naomi, that is come again out of the country of Moab, sold it a parcel of land which was our brother Elimelech, meaning, and Naomi is an Israelite, and remember, Naomi's daughter-in-law is Ruth, and Ruth was married to a fellow Israelite, Judite, and his name was Elimelech, and after the famine in Moab, Naomi returned back to the land of Israel, and the land to be sold, which is belonged to Elimelech. So you had a brother that had the right to redeem his land back and get Elimelech land back. Right. Verse 4. And I thought to advertise thee, saying, buy it before the inhabitants and before the elders of my people. If thou wilt redeem it. But if thou wilt not redeem it, then tell me, that I may know, for there is none to redeem it besides thee, and I am after thee. And he said, I will redeem it. Meaning, he is saying that he will buy the land back, and say, for example, if the brethren has my land and I can't afford to buy it back, and the next one in line is my brother, the same blood on my father's side, and he has the right to redeem it back, and if the brother don't want to buy it, and then whoever my first cousin or who are next in line by blood, they can come by it. And that is what Boaz is saying. And Boaz can buy it because it is another relative next in line to buy it and redeem it for Elimelech. Verse 5. Then said Boaz, what day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must buy it also of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. Meaning, if you buy the field and you have to get it from Ruth, the wife of Elimelech, and she's not an Israelite, and now when you buy the field and you have to purchase Ruth as well, and he has to lay down with Ruth, and that is what the law says. When your brother die and the next brother has to lay with his brother wife to raise a seed up to his brother. So it is a two-part deal. So if you buy this land, then you have to get with Ruth as well. And the brother might be thinking and say, I don't want to get with Ruth. And he might say as well, if I buy that land and be with Ruth and raise up a son, and all my possession has to go to the seed line of Elimelech instead of my son. And now he is between a rock and a hard space, and now he is thinking, I'm not sure I want to buy this land, because if he buy the land, everything everything in his seed line is going to Elimelech, and not to his seed line. And so he is kind of afflicted in this situation, right? Verse 6. And and the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, unless I mar my own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it. Meaning, and he said, I don't want to get down like that. And at first he said he would buy the land, but then he thought about it. If he buy the land and he has to get down with Ruth, and his inheritance is going to be given to a seed line of Elimelech, just like, and he said, I don't know about that one, and he kind of reneged on that and cannot redeem it. I don't want to mar my inheritance. It means everything he had that was going to go to his son, it will be going to Elimelech, just like a family instead, and he will lose everything if he buy that land and have to be with Ruth, right? Verse 7. Verse 7. Now this was the manner in former times in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing, for to confirm all things, a man plucked it off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor, and this was a testimony in Israel, meaning taking off his shoe and transferring it to the new owner, meaning picking possessions, inheritance, like a symbol, a bill of sale, right? Verse 8. Therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe, meaning that was the manner in the ancient world when you redeem things, change things, and confirm things, and a man will take off his shoe and give it to the next man, meaning this is yours now, and you can walk in my steps, and you can have my land. And that is like a bill of sale of today's world, but a symbolic bill of sale, right? Verse 9. And Boaz said unto the elders and unto all the people, ye are witnesses this day that I have bought all that was Elimelech, just like, and all that was Chilon's, and Mahalon's, of the hand of Naomi, meaning Boaz had the elders as witnesses that he taken off his shoe, meaning like a symbolic bill of sale when he bought the land, and taken Ruth to be his wife, right? Verse 10. Moreover, Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of Mahlon, have I purchased it to be my wife, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance, that the name of the dead be not cut off from among his brethren, and from the gate of his place ye are witnesses this day. Meaning Boaz said he would do that, and that is love for your brother, to put that seed back on the earth. And if you don't bring back your brother's seed on this earth, and all his possession will be gone, so you show love to your brother and let his seed be back on the earth, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 25:7, okay? All right, let's talk about that. Bring your brother's seed back on the earth, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy 25:7. And if the man like not to take his brother wife, then let his brother wife go up to the gate unto the elder, and say, my husband brother refused to raise up unto his brother a name in Israel. He will not perform the duties of my husband brother, meaning, and a brother might say no, and the wife might put it out there that he don't want to get down with this raising up his brother name in Israel. Verse 8. Then the elders of his city shall call him and speak unto him, and if he stand stand to it and say, I like not to take her, meaning, and they will say, I heard that you don't want to raise up the seed of your brother. And he say, yeah, that is me. Verse 9. Then shall his brother wife come unto him in the presence of the elders, and loose his shoe from off his foot, and spit in his face, and shall answer and say, so shall it be done unto that man that will not build up his brother's house. Meaning she got to take his shoe off of his foot and spit in his face. And if you don't want to build up your brother's house, and that is a disgrace, and the elders are watching this happen, and he is going to have a bad name in Israel, and no one might not want to make a deal with him or a trade or invite him to the feast days, because he didn't want to raise the seed up to his brother. Right? Verse 10. And his name shall be called in Israel the house of him that had his shoe loosed it. Meaning they were going around in Israel calling him loose shoes. And that was his new name. And everyone was calling him that. And the sons and his daughters will get a bad name because of their fathers being called the loose shoe. Right. You'll get a bad name in Israel being called loose shoe. All right. You're going to want to raise up the seed of your brother. All right. Okay, let's go back to Leviticus 25 and 26. Leviticus, back to Leviticus 25 and 26, right? Okay. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself, let me read that again. And if the man have none to redeem it, and himself be able to redeem it, verse 27, then let him count the years of the sale thereof, and restore the overplus unto the man to whom he sold it, that he may return unto his possession. Meaning, and let's just say if my cousin can buy that land back for me, but I came up with enough money to buy my land back, and what I have to do is, let's just say 20 years before the jubilees come, I buy that land in the 20th year, but Amos is expecting to get increase off that land, and I have to confiscate Amos for the years that he is missing in that land. So if I buy it in the 20th year, I have to pay Amos the 30-year worth of fruits that he was going to get off of that land, and that is the overplus. But if I don't want to do that, then I have to wait to the year of Jubilee. Right. That's verse 28. But if he be not able to restore it to him, then that which is sold shall remain in the hand of him that had brought it unto the year of Jubilee, and in the Jubilee it shall go out, and he shall return unto his possession. Meaning, if I can pay the overplus, and I can pay them 30 years worth of fruit increase, and the pricing he is going to get, and I have to wait to the year of Jubilee if I can't come up with the money. Right. Verse 29. And if a man sell a dwelling house in a walled city, then he may redeem it within a whole year. After it is sold within a full year, may he redeem it. Meaning, and if you have a house in a walled city, and you are going to treat this house financially different than a house in a village and a house in a walled city, you have 1 year to redeem it. Verse 30. And if it be not redeemed it within the space of a full year, then the house that is in the walled city shall be established forever to him that bought it throughout his generations. It shall not go out in the Jubilee, meaning so certain things didn't go out in Jubilees, and chiefly houses in a walled city. And houses in a walled city didn't go out because they are not part of the land. And the Lord is going to treat a house in the village as part of the land. And if I rebuild a city in a remote place and I have a house within that city, and the Lord not going to hold that as part of the land, therefore it is not going to go out in the year of Jubilee. So it is a little bit different, because you had to have money to live in the cities. And if you sold your house and you had to get it back, but if you were living in the field and you had more grace to get your land back at the year of Jubilee, and if you sold your house and could not keep up with your finances, and now that house belonged to him forever, to whom you sold it to, and now you have to go back to the village and work and put yourself in a position to come up with some money again, right? Leviticus 25 and 31, okay? Leviticus 25 and 31. But the houses of the villages which have no wall round about them shall be counted as the fields of the country. They may be redeemed, and they shall go out in the Jubilees, meaning the houses in the villages basically is part of the land. So the Lord is kind of against these cities when it comes to the redemption of these houses and these cities. And the city, you have 1 year to redeem your house, and if you don't get it back in that year, then it belongs to this man forever. But if you are in a formed village, I can get it back in the year of Jubilee, right? Verse 32. Notwithstanding the cities of the Levites and the houses of the cities of their possession may the Levites redeem at any time, meaning the Levites got a little more privileges because they are the priests of the Lord and their land, and basically they were not given a possession of any land, but the 11th tribe received it a land, right? Deuteronomy 10 and 9, okay? Let's talk about it, all right? Deuteronomy 10 and 9, all right, about the Levites. Wherefore Levi had no part nor inheritance with his brother. The Lord is his inheritance according as the Lord thy God promised it him, meaning the Most High is his inheritance and not any land. And the word Levi mean in the Hebrew is la yah, and which it means joined unto me, and meaning the children of Levi joined it unto the Most High. And just like Leah was joined it unto Jacob when she given him his third son, and that's why the Levi has the priesthood and the offering, and their dwellings were the suburbs, and they lived good, right? Let's go back to Leviticus 25 and 33. Okay, 25 and 33. All right. And if a man purchase of the Levites, then the house that was sold and the city of his possession shall go out in the year of Jubilee, for the houses of the cities of the Levites are their possession among the children of Israel. Verse 34. But the field of the suburbs of their cities may not be sold, for it is their perpetual possession. Meaning, so the Levites lived in the suburbs in the good part, and that is where Esau get his suburb from, the scriptures, and everything else they steal out of our book, our heritage. And the Levites lived it outside the urban community, and they received it and increased an increase in all the tithes from all the Israelites. So the Levites increase were getting 10% off of every Israelites in that region, and they were living good, and they didn't need a lot of land, and they had their fields and their tithes and their inheritance belonged it to the Most High, but it went to the Levites by default, right? Go to verse 35. Verse 35. And if thy brother be waxing poor and falling in decay with thee, then thou shalt relieve him. Though he be a stranger or a sojourner, that he may live with thee. Meaning, so if your brother is wasted and poor, and you can say, look at this nigga, he is broken. No, if your brother fall on hard time, you have to help him out and relieve your brother and tell him that he can come work in my field, says etc. And it was no brother out there with no occupation back then in the ancient world, and we should help our brothers today and let him cut the grass for they can make some money and kind of hard that man, and you can be and you can put interest on your brother, right? Verse 36. We can't be putting no interest on our brother, right? The usury, all right? Leviticus 25:36. Take thou no usury of him, or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. Meaning, you can't put any interest on that brother. So imagine that if all of our people were taken care of, it would not be any poor, and they have a year that they can eat good and go in your go in your land and eat good in the field without putting it in a vessel, and they will be relieved. And of their poverty, they can be and of their poverty they can be a worker for you and live with you, and they can live with you forever if they wanted to, but you have to put an all in the ear, right? You have to put the all in the ear, right? Let's go to Proverbs 28:8. All right, Proverbs 28:8. He that by usury and unjust gain increased it his substance, he shall gather it for him that will pity the poor. Meaning, so if you are using usury and taxing your brother and making your brother do labor beyond what you are paying him, just building and you are just building up for the next man his financial responsibility. Let's go to Deuteronomy 15:1, right? Deuteronomy 15:1. At the end of every 7 years thou shalt make a release. Meaning the 7th year is the year of release. Verse 2. And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. Meaning, and they had creditors in the ancient world, meaning bill collectors. It is called the Lord release, meaning those debts are delinquent. Verse 3. Of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but that which is thine with thy brother thy hand shall release. Meaning a foreigner, meaning an Edomite or another nation, or workers working for you, and meaning they have to owe that, and if they can't pay it back in the 7 years, and they have to deal with it, and they have to pay the money, and the Lord don't love everyone, and he said them other nation has to pay in the 7 year, and we can put interest on them other nation, but we can't put interest on our people, and we have to release them and let and let that slide. Right. Verse 4. Save when there shall be no poor among you, for the Lord shall greatly bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for inheritance to possess it. I drop down to verse 12. Okay, this Deuteronomy 15 and 12. And if thy brethren, read that again. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man or an Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. Verse 13. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Meaning, and when your fellow Israelite brethren worked it for 6 years, on the 7th year, set him free and don't let him leave empty-handed. Verse 14. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress, of that wherewith the Lord thy God had blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. Meaning, give him 30 cattle and winepress, meaning giving him 10 gallons of wine or more. So our people were taken care of in the ancient world, and we worked it our fellow Israelites for 6 years, and the 7th year we let him go with a lot of things to take with him to start his new life, and it was like a retirement gift. Right. So let's go back to Leviticus 25 and 37. Okay, Leviticus 25 and 37. Right. Leviticus 25 and 37. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy victuals for increase. Verse 38. I am the Lord your God, which brought you forth out of the land of Egypt, to give you the land of Canaan, and to be your God. Verse 39. And if thy brother that dwelleth by thee be waxen poor, and be sold unto thee, thou shalt not compel him to serve as a bond servant. Meaning, you can't put him in hardcore slavery, but the other nations you can't put in hardcore slavery. But your brethren, you have to put him in a room and treat him good and make sure he eat good, live good, but he is still a worker. Right. Verse 40. But as an hired servant and as a sojourner, he shall be with thee and shall serve thee unto the year of Jubilee. Right. Verse 41. Okay. Verse 41. And then shall he depart from thee, both he and his children with him, and shall return unto his own family, and unto the possession of his fathers shall he return. Verse 42. For they are my servants, which I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. They shall not be sold as bondmen, meaning we can't have a slave trade and buy our brethren for slavery forever. And we have to let our brethren go after the Jubilee. Right? Verse 43. Thou shalt not rule over him with rigor, but shall fear thy God. Meaning, so when you have your brethren working for you and you can beat him up, and that's rigor, putting a broomstick across his back and beating him up, and you have to respect your brethren that is working for you. But them other nations, you can do that to them and beat them and make them bleed. Right. All right, let's go to Sirach 33 and 25. Okay, let's go to Sirach 33 and 25. Sirach 33 and 25. If thou set thy servant to labor, thou shalt find rest, but if thou let him go idle, he shall seek liberty. Meaning, put your worker to work. Put your workers to work, and don't give him all them breaks, because they will be thinking about ideals and doing their own things. Right. Verse 26. A yoke and a collar do bow the neck, so are torture and torments for an evil servant. Meaning Yahweh said, put a yoke of iron, and the Lord is commanding us to put a yoke of iron around the other nation's neck and bow you down and discipline you. And the Lord said we can torture and torment our evil servants. So if we had an evil Edomite, then we could do our thing with them. Right. Let's go to Sirach 42 and 5. Okay. Sirach 42 and 5. And of merchant indifference, like he's selling of much correction of children, and to make the slide of an evil servant to bleed, meaning you should not be ashamed of that. And if someone is finessing you, and also God said, don't be ashamed to make your evil servant bleed on the side, and you can feel sorry for them, and you have to make example to them, or they will get ideals. Right. So that's what you can do to your evil servants. All right. These other nations. Right. But you can't do that to your brothers. Okay. Can't treat your brothers like that. But the other nation, yeah, you can get down with them. All right. Let's go back to Leviticus 25 and 44. All right. Back to Leviticus 25 and 44. Okay. Both thy bondmen and thy bondmaid which thou shalt have shall be of the heathen that are round about you. Of them shall ye buy bondmen and bondmaids. Meaning the Lord said we could go around about us and go buy them heathen for bondmen and bondmaids, just like for slaves, but we can't do what Esau did to us in slavery, raping our women and men and children gator bait, or ripping our men apart with horses. And we are going to have slaves and do it in decent and in order. Right. Verse 45. Moreover, of the children of the strength. Let me read that again. Moreover, of the Moreover, of the children of the strangers that do sojourn among you, of them shall ye buy, and of their families that are with you, that are with you, which they begat in your land, and they shall be your possession. Meaning you could buy a whole entire family in the ancient world. Verse 46. Okay. 46. And ye shall take them as an inheritance for your children after you, to inherit them for a possession. They shall be your bondmen forever, but over your brethren, the children of Israel, you shall not rule one over another with rigor. Meaning you can pass down families in the ancient world, and you can have this Edomite family and pass it down to your son for inheritance. And you are at the age of a man now, so these will be your slaves forever. And them other nations that are walking around and proud are slaves on the loose in the world. They should be working for you, and these laws are going to be fostered in the kingdom of heaven again. And in the kingdom we will be buying entire family, and you will be in your chairs and looking down and saying, I want that Moabite family right there, or I want these Edomites or Hamites, and passing down to your children. Right. So let's go to Leviticus 25 and 47. Okay. Leviticus 25 and 47. All right. Leviticus 25 and 47. And if a sojourner or stranger wax rich by thee, and thy brother that dwelleth by him wax poor, and sell himself unto the stranger, or sojourn by thee, or to the stock of the stranger family. Verse 48. After that he is sold, he may be redeemed again. One of his brethren may redeem him. Meaning, and you can always be redeemed. And if you find yourself in a situation being a worker for someone else or another nation, and a brother can come and say, I am going to get you back and redeem you. Right. Verse 49. Either It's like read again. Either his uncle or his uncle's son may redeem him, or any that is nigh akin unto him of his family may redeem him, or if he be able, he may redeem himself. Right, verse 50. Verse 50, and he shall reckon with him that bought him from the year that he was sold to him until the year of Jubilee, and the price of his sale shall be according unto the number of years, according to the time of an hired servant shall it be within, shall it be with him. Meaning, and just the same thing as the fruits, he has to have an estimate amount of value that he would get from his servant leading up to the Jubilee, that he would have to pay that. And if I worked it for Amos for $20 an hour and I quit before the year is up, and if a brother wants to redeem me, the brother has to pay Amos for the time I left to the end of that year, and plus the price of me, and that would be a lot of money to pay for these redemptions. Redemptions. That's from verse 51, Leviticus 25:51. If there be yet many years behind according unto them, he shall give again the price of his redemption out of the money that he was bought for. Right, verse 52. And if there, read again. And if there remain but few years unto the year of Jubilee, then he shall count with him, and according unto his year shall he give him, he give him again the price of his redemption. Meaning it doesn't matter if it was 49 years leading up to the Jubilee or 1 year leading up to the Jubilee, and you still have to come up with the money to confiscate him for the estimated value that the worker gave him for what he have and what he is worth. Right, verse 53. And as a yearly hired servant shall he be with him, and the other shall not rule with rigor over him in thy sight. 54. And if he be not redeemed in these years, then he shall go out in the year of Jubilee, both he and his children with him. Verse 55. For unto me the children of Israel are servants. They are my servants, whom I brought forth out of the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God. Right. So there you go. There you have it. That's Leviticus 25th chapter. Right. Okay. So this got going to these laws. Write these laws down. Right. Go over these laws. Write what it means. All right, I'm showing you what it means, whatever, and go over it, okay? All right, just go over these laws, all right? Okay, but that's Leviticus 25 chapter, okay? Hope it was edifying. I want to give honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahushua. Shalom.